Hello, hello, hello. I am Night Shift Nova. You can call me Nova if you want. And today I'm just going to show you my decently simple wash plant setup. Now this is the larger version of the simple wash plant setup that I normally use when I first start a new map. And I'll go through and explain what the first one looks like, what the next stage looks like, and then what I have here, which is the third stage of the whole process. So first thing, you have your hoppers. These panels on top are not necessary, neither is the concrete. And you can start with just a single output hopper. And I like to run that straight into an elevator. That gains you some elevation, so in case you're working on flat ground, it gives you some space to work with. Right after that, I like to put one of these are the 4 meter long straight pieces right here. And that just gives us enough space for this 90-degree left to go in. And the left, it doesn't matter, it can be left or right depending on which way you want your plant to go. If you want to go the opposite way, then on this one you just put a right. I would send everything off that way. Next thing is the trommel. So your trommel, everything that you dump into your hopper will go up here and through the trommel. Ores and all of your other things like blasted rock or crushed rock go through the trommel and onwards down the line. But dirt and pay dirt is the reason that I have this portion of the plant set up. Pay dirt comes out, and the first thing on the small stage, I put a sluice box right here. Now a sluice box will wash the dirt off of your ores, and the sluice box will hold your ores. And so what you can get in your sluice box is gold ore, ruby ore, diamond ore, and silicone ore. And then the dirt will pass through, and in the first stage, I have it run up. The dirt runs up through here into a chute, or it can go into one of these straight fours or straight two, or however you want to put it, into a chute, and below it is where I put the cell point. So that is the first stage. It would just be one hopper, your elevator, your 4 meter long straight, your trommel, and also on your trommel on this end you would just put a storage, so that if you catch anything, if you happen to mine into a coal vein, or if you happen to mine into an ore vein, that all of that will get stored inside of a storage on that side. Pay dirt and dirt will come out the bottom. Dirt will get washed away, ores will get kept in here. Dirt will travel up your elevator, or you can drop it directly into a sell point without the elevator, and that will be sold, giving you some passive income. Now, the next stage is keeps the storage. It would be one of these storage silos on the end of your trommel right here. This, from here on out that way, it doesn't change. This way it changes. So same thing, except you're going to trade this out for a wash plant, which you might not have to do. I do believe if you are using a sluice box, then you can open up your menu and you can turn pass through on. When it's on, it'll say turn pass through off. That's how you know it's on. And then from there, you have all this, your elevator, and I like to split this into two different circuits. The first circuit is right here. I have my power input, and on the first stage of this wash plant, you only need to start off with a ×1, ×2, or ×3. It is not necessary to use a ×5 or a ×10 when you're first starting out, because you won't have enough material for that to really make an impact. But then it comes through here, it drops, and I have it set to drop into a hopper, which is the beginning of the next circuit. I also have I would also start out with a times 1, times 2, or times 3 power input. I do have a times 10 speed power output or power input because I am gathering a large amount of materials, and so it is nice to be able to have all of that travel as fast as I can possibly make it through my system. Now, right after the hopper is a trommel again, because with the wash plant or with your sluice box, if you have pass-through turned on, your ores and your dirt will go through, and you don't want your dirt going into the rest of your system. So you put in a trommel, all of your ores will go through the top and come out of this output, and all of your dirt will come out of this output. You can put a chute on here and drop it straight into a cell point, but that is not necessary. The cell point is very practical for this. It is nice to have because it still gives you that passive income while you are dumping. Now, right after that, I have a storage container, which that is not necessary. I had just been mining a ore vein, and my ores would be going into the storage silo on the other side of this first trommel. And so I wanted to be able to have a spot to put those in so they could travel through the rest of this system. So if you're not mining in an ore vein, this isn't necessary. If you are, I would highly suggest this. But anyways, right after your trommel, or this, if you decide to put it in, is a high temp sorter. And now your high temp sorter is going to sort out your ores. Out the bottom, I do believe it is iron, aluminum, and silicone that get brought out this way and go through. And on the top side is your gold and everything else. It doesn't specify all of what ores go out. It's just all of them except for the aluminum, the iron, and the silicone. Now for your bottom output, your rear output, it's going to run into the high temp smelter. That smelts aluminum, iron, and silicone. The other side, you will have it run into a normal smelter that's going to smelt up all the other ores that you can possibly get. And with this system, I have it just come out with 2 lefts, gives it enough space so that these two aren't clipping into each other too much, and it runs in, gets turned into a liquid, and then you'll see little boxes, little crates start traveling up your conveyor belt system, and they'll go across and on down the way. And so what I do is, here I decided to elevate it because I had previously tried, and that's what this is, I had tried to dig out the conveyor belt path, and it was just too much work, so I decided to elevate it. Still had to do some digging, but not as much. If you're going to copy this, then you will do a offset right, you'll do another offset right for your high temp smelter. Now on your smelter side, you will do a offset left with a short 2 meter straight. Then you will need a right and a left. You also need a merger, so you're able to combine these 2 paths into one, and reducing costs so you don't have to have 2 of whatever you choose to put down here, which I put the bar roller. Bar roller is good because it turns your liquid metals into the bar variant, which they sell for quite a lot more. So with this system, the only things that I'm really getting in here is silicone bars and gold bars. There is the ruby and the diamond ore that gets through here, and they do not smelt down. Rubies and diamonds do not smelt down, so you will still have the ore variant inside of your storage. But the silicone and the gold, you will have the gold and the silicone bar variant inside of your storage. And just a little more information on that. if you are able to get a full stack of 9,999 gold bars, that is equivalent to just under 1.5 million. Alright, so that is the second stage. Third stage is a little more complicated, but it's not too bad. One thing I did forget to mention is for your wash plant or your sluice box, you need a water supply. And so down here, I know this is all messy because this is still a somewhat temporary wash plant until I am able to clear out enough space to make a nice looking wash plant. But here I have a water pump. Water pump can only be placed on grass, dirt, or snow. And these things can be finicky sometimes, so you'll just have to rotate them around. And you see this is on snap build. I do like to use grid build just because it helps you keep everything in a straight line. Everything's going to hook up properly. But you see, pump needs to be placed on grass, snow, or dirt, and it has a red X. But if I move that just around, you see it gives you a green check mark, and now that red text turns to green. You can place it here. Not there, you can place it here. So you just have to watch out for that. Sometimes it'll give you a real tough time, but you just gotta mess with it, and somewhere you'll be able to place it down and it will work. But anyways, for this next section I also did choose to put a second pump on here, which isn't all that necessary. You can put a splitter on right here, but this pump is perfectly set up with one piece connecting it from the pump to the wash plant, so I didn't want to mess with any more plumbing on that, so I decided to put a second one down. The second one just travels over and it'll hook up to the froth floater over there, which I will get to shortly. For the froth floater though, you want to get a water refinery. The sluice box will work, or the froth floater will work without a water refinery, but it does take, it won't give you as good of like a collection bonus for your ores. If you do this, then you will be able to harvest more from what you put in, because it loves purified water. But next thing is coming off of your trommel. You normally would have your storage silo, one of these right here. Instead, you replace it with a coal screen, and then on the coal screen, everything will go over the top of this and coal will fall down. Now you put an elbow on here, a right or a left, whichever way you're going, where you want it to go, and you just bring it out however far you want, and then you hook up a storage silo to it. You see, I have quite a large amount of coal in here, and that's just to make sure that it doesn't go through the rest of the system and end up in my silo down there. But from here, I wanted to keep everything above this level for the most part, so I put in another elevator, and then up top I have a straight 4 meter, and it goes into a shaker screen. After that it goes into a jaw crusher and a cone crusher, which I'll get to those, well, as soon as I get back up there. Now at your shaker screen, everything is going to go over the top. Any ores that you catch, or any ores that you do end up dumping in there, they will come out, and I have them trammed over to here, which they will dump onto this conveyor belt and continue through the system. But what the shaker screen does is any blasted rock or crushed rock or gravel, those all go through. Now if you have blasted rock, then your jaw crusher will turn it into crushed rock, your cone crusher will turn it into gravel, and then your froth floater will turn that gravel into tailings and waste material, which if you look at the picture of it in the menu, it does say tailings, everything else, But yeah, it's just basically dirt or anything, and all of your ores will go out the top. And for that, this is alright. I do put a sell point for that tailings dump. For this bottom output, that's where you want to place a sell point. After that, froth floater converts gravel into ores and tailings, and your ores will travel through a conveyor belt system. Doesn't have to be as large as this. It just, I like to be able to have space for these to connect up to each other and it just not be super crazy. After that, yet again another elevator, and then I have this go into another high temp sorter, which same as what is over there. I do believe that is aluminum. Well, let's see. Iron, aluminum, and silicone ore will come out the bottom. All of your other ores will go out the top. And so, yet again, another high temp smelter. And from here on down, it's the same exact system as that, just minus that silo. So, all of this stuff is the exact same as what is over there. Same thing, I just didn't have to increase my height on it. It is 2 offset rights, a left hand elbow, a merger, and for the normal smelter it is a left hand offset, a straight 2 meter, a right hand elbow, and also connects into the merger, goes into a bar roller, and then into a silo. Just to show you guys what it does, I will come up here to where I am mining out an area so I can build my wash plant up here, and I'll spend about 5 or 10 minutes just digging away, and I'll show you guys what both storage silos will look like. I just made one pass through here, which this thing does cut quite a bit of material out and does dig fairly well. That is why I have it up here doing this job. And going into a hopper output, which you see within one swipe I had a ton of dirt going in here. And so I'm going to wait until all of that ends up traveling down here. I have it dropping straight down here into this, and then it feeds the rest of the system. Alright, so we're over here, and yep, you see it is now starting to be done, and that was the last little bit that went in here. And you see you have your gold ore, or your gold bars, your ruby ore, your diamond ore, and your silicone bars. Now, silicone doesn't sell for too much, especially as an ore variant, and I will show you guys just the difference on prices for all of these. Per one. So your diamond ore is going to sell for $33 a piece. Your gold bar is going to sell for $147 a piece. Silicone is going to sell for $56 as the bar variant, and ruby ore is going to sell for $34 as the ruby ore, because there is no other way to make any ruby material. So altogether, pretty much, that is, you see, this is why this system is nice. This is why I built the system the way I did, is because you get 2,000 gold, you have 300 grand. Very nice. Your silicone, 424, 23 grand, not as amazing. And then your ruby ore actually sells for more than, well, no, it doesn't sell for more, but you do end up getting more ruby and diamond ore than you do silicone due to the gold bars having to go through, I believe it's a 5-to-1 ratio of the ore variant to become the liquid and into a bar. I am not quite sure on that, but there is a substantial change in your input amount to your output amount, but your output amount is going to sell for a better price. Well, yeah, that is my starter wash plant. This part of it is definitely not the start. You shouldn't have to build all of this. Don't feel pressured to build all of this. Just start out with something simple. Put it in a trommel, get your pay dirt to go through here and collect your ores from there, and just build it up from there. Build it however you want. There's plenty of YouTube videos going through and describing each part, how to put them together, what variation is going to work the best, what variations work better than others. You just gotta take time and figure things out. Like my power situation, it does not look too great, but it is working for right now. It's decently cheap, and it's making me money, which is what I need to do to be able to create a nice wash plant up top. And also, one more thing. If you aren't sure what is pay dirt, what is dirt, and what are ores, get a metal analyzer. You just go up to a material and you hold either the left trigger or left mouse button, and you look at it and it'll tell you. You see, it says dirt, which dirt is dark. Pay dirt is this lighter dirt. You can see the color difference. And so if I were to dig some of that, I get dirt. And if I am to dig some of this, I get pay dirt. This works on everything. You got blasted rock. This is blasted rock because normally it is a nice light blue. Oh, like this right here. This solid rock. You have to blow this up for you to be able to mine it with a loader or anything. And then you have your coal. And up top, up there is some other ores. I can't quite reach it, but yeah, the metal analyzer is very helpful when you first start playing this game. And you know, you're not going to know everything at the beginning, and so it is nice that they have tools to help you out throughout the game. And another little bonus tip is when you see these dark patches, there is going to be some type of ore underneath. Whether that's coal, whether that's iron, aluminum, gold, copper, there's a lot of ores. I can't even name anything off the top of my head. But this one turns out to be coal ore. So that is what the coal ore will look like. But yeah, as my wash plant setup. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching the video. If you could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. It does help the channel out a lot. If there's anything that you think I could do that would help benefit the channel or help benefit the gameplay factor of this channel, then put it in the comments, let me know. But other than that, thank you for watching.